G'day and welcome back. Today we're going to make some mead. Nice simple mead, easy stuff to do. Right, you want to take your water with a D. I use filtered rainwater through my Stefani and I store it in these things here, which you can use just to put the honey and your yeast straight in, but I prefer a demijohn. Looks a bit better. Not that more, it's more expensive, of course. These run about 17 bucks, but they'll last forever as long as you don't drop them. Got our little airlock, and of course you can use a balloon or anything along those lines, but again, when I want to show people, it's nice to be able to say, hey, look, it's kind of cool. Westcombe honey, Western Australian stuff. It's around the cheapest stuff. It is actual honey though, it's not some other brands just use sugar water or they're fed sugar water. So we use real honey. I've thrown a bit of this water into the kettle, and so what we want to do is just warm the honey up. And I just throw that into there. Of course I've rinsed this with hot water, never really had an issue with that, and we're just going to throw that in. And we'll let that boil away. Alright, that kettle's almost boiled. I want to give a shout out to my next door neighbour Dave, who supplied us with the oranges and the mandarins. I mean, have a look at that. That's stuff you don't get in the shops there. That'd never make it through. You got a good ball size there, and that's your tiny little mandarin. They are unbelievably sweet. Not the right colour, nothing like that would sell in the shop, and yet they are absolutely magnificent. So half a tiny mandarin, I've got half an orange here, and we're just going to cut that up just so we can get it into the bottle. And I've got half a lemon from my lemon tree, and as some of you know, we've recently moved house into just on an acre. You'll see other videos on that. So we pop those in, nice and simple. Probably don't need just the pith, we can deal with that. And our little, just break them up just so that, sure, we don't need the seeds. If they fall out, if they don't, good, righto. So there you go, tiny bit of that. And what we're going to end up doing is throwing the yeast, when I find my thermometer, what do you do with it, James? Here we go. Right, that's just finished boiling. Sterilisation process. We'll tip a bit of that hot water into just so we can we'll just tip that straight into there. It's a little bit warm. Bang on 32 degrees, which is where we want to be. I am using one full packet of 5 grams champagne yeast. Good. And I've got this Mangrove Jack's Mead yeast, which I'm going to use about half the pack. Maybe a little less, just so I'm not giving it too much. So about 5 grams of that. We give that a bit of a stir. So that kicks off. Okay. Now we're going to take our honey, which should be fairly, don't need that in there. Now, the good thing with this honey that I do enjoy, once it's nice and warm, it'll just pour. So, hopefully, we can get nearly all of it in. And sometimes we slop it down the side. So be it. Now today's mead we are not using yeast nutrient, which gives the sort of full nutrient spectrum to the yeast. You know, we can slop it around. We're pretty good here. Alrighty, go. And there we have it. Get that nice warm water in there. The folks I follow, the Americans, say it should be about 170 degrees. Again, that's something that I'll put up on the screen because my mind's gone blank because I'm concentrating here. And that's pretty clear, other than the stuff I've slopped outside, which is, I don't know, 10 grams, 20 grams. We get a litre of water. And drop the rest in there. And we'll be a little forgiving with the idea that we probably don't need the seeds. Alright, now we'll get that pretty warm and just dip some cooler water in. We want to top these up, we want to get 4 litres out of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to push this in to sort of the 3 litre mark, 3 and a bit, probably 3.5. And there's a reason for that. That's basically the first part that I can get my thermometer in to see where we're at temperature wise. And we've just dropped it over 35 degrees, so if we put a bit more in, we do need some room for the, what do we got there? 400 mils. Yeah, so we're going to go close to 4 litres here. Again, folks, you know, it's one of those things that we should be quite you know, we can be quite technical on and get it perfect and all that sort of thing. The problem being that sometimes that takes the fun out of the slapping it together and seeing what happens, because we are in for this. Some of the Americans will, and probably Europeans, will find that that kilo of honey, which is about 2.2 pound, is $12, and that's about the cheapest you can get it. And look, that's just how it is over here. And look at that, we've got just a tiny bit of room. We'll put a little bit in, just coming up to the neck there. And for all guesses, I'm thinking we'll probably hit what do you think? 32? Or a fair bit colder because the cold water's sitting there. So what we'll do is give him a bit of a shake. And that honey is dissolving nicely. Well, pretty much done. And climbing to 30. Ooh, we still might go a bit over here. 31, 32, 3, 4, 35 will top it out, I would say. Alright, 35 degrees. And I would next time give that honey just a little more time to dissolve in that. You're not going to do it any damage. You're not going to do the yeast any damage by swirling it around. And you can see that honey tumbling around. And maybe it's a little bit settling out. One more of those. And I've got honey all over me, which is fine. And we pop our airlock on. Pick up our sticky bottle. And we pour some water into that fella there. And for your purposes only, I mean, there's a max and a minimum. Well, not necessarily a minimum mark, but there is a maximum marked. Give that a flick. And those will start to equalise. Well, they'll equalise, and then the CO2 that's being pushed off by the mead will, by the yeast, eating all the sugars, that will start to bubble away. So we make sure that's airlock's on, and that'll go away. And usually, we try not to make as much mess as we have, but and always with the tips, the citrus rinds and so forth should never be, oh Dave, it smells good, should never be thrown into your compost bin because your worms don't like it and your compost organisms don't tend to break it down as quick, but throw it in your fire. So we've got a wood fire here and pizza oven, so it can just go into the pizza oven, dry out, and then the high potassium ashes can be just pushed back into your garden or into your compost bin and use that way. So thank you for watching, and like and subscribe and do all that sort of stuff. Thanks for watching.
Sticky!